Is Felicia Taylor, and I am a student at SDSU. Today this video will be about creating a Java window. So I want to go over just a brief overview of what this video will be about, as well as my demo, and then go into some important terminology that will be used throughout the code, switch into a little walkthrough of my code, and then end with a short demo. So for this program or demo, I created this as a homework assignment. I had to create a J panel with buttons named after well-known cartographers of map projections, as well as provide an image and other information. I used Mojo, which is Map Objects, Java Objects, specifically the 2.3 edition for my program. And you'll see at the bottom here, MOJ compile and MOJ run are the command line prompts that I will use to compile and run my demo. I had to create a Java window with interactive buttons. So you see throughout the code J-option pane, and it is a Java pop-up widget. So it's a pop-up window. In that pop-up window, I had to, of course, include photos and other information about the cartographers. So JDialog window, similar to a J-option pane, but it's best used if you have a lot of information that you want to put into one pop-up window, which is not something I wanted for this homework assignment, so I did not use a JDialog window. J-option pane. So this is a screenshot of an example that I found online. You can see that the J-option pane class gives us a dialog box, and like I said before, this J-option pane allows us to give information to the user as well as get information from the user. And I wanted to just show you how we want hello, welcome to Java 2 Point inside of our dialog box. And then here a JFrame F. Here we have a JFrame that we are creating. It's basically just an invisible or a no title frame. But for some reason in this example, it does have message here. So there could be something that I can't see in this example. But that is what it should look like. JFrame and JPanel are very similar to each other. They are both a container. They are a subclass of a JComponent class, which is a subclass of a container class. So a JPanel is a container, and it inherits a lot from its superclasses. So it can hold lots of methods, things like fields and labels or buttons. To create a JPanel, you will need a blank panel constructor here. By default, it will be opaque, but you can obviously customize that however you wish. To customize components, you will need layout managers such as flow, border, and grid layout. A JFrame is similar to a JPanel, like I said, but it has its own characteristics like borders or title bars and customizable size, font, and colors that you can do. Two important sub areas that you should know are the content pane and the menu bar. The content pane are where most of the controls are, and a JFrame is best for standalone windows such as warning windows or notification windows where something pops up on your screen on top of everything else, whereas a JPanel is better suited for something much more general. Action Listener is a class that handles action events such as clicks. In order to use it, you do need to make sure that it is imported as well as implemented. And it's perfect for my assignment because I had to create JButtons, which action listeners are perfect for. You will need a method called action performed, which will keep track of whatever action is performed, like said in the name. You could put what you want your method to do once something is clicked. Then you have button.add action listener. This means that your button is being monitored for an action event. It is listening or watching for something that happens to something. So in this case, it's going to be listening or watching for when the user clicks on a button, and then it will do what you set it to do. Now I would like to switch over to my code and give you a little walkthrough, and then finish off with a short demo. Okay, so now that we've switched over to the code, I want to just mention here that you could see I've imported everything I need to use my action listeners, as well as JFrame, JPanel, JOption pane. You'll see here that I have a empty or a blank JPanel constructor. And I have here 4 buttons: Mercator, Albers, Lambert, and Cassini. Map projections that are named after cartographers. For my first button here, you'll see that I have created a JFrame. Now this JFrame, like I said before, creates an invisible frame or a window frame with no name or title. So when I run the demo, you'll see that there should be nothing there, and I'll try to show it to you later. Here I have my JOption pane, and you'll see show message dialog. So what I want my JFrame to hold right here, which is Gerardus Mercator, and some other information about him. And you see I have also JOption pane warning message. So this right here will pop up as a window. So instead of just opening up straight onto my Java window, I have it set so it will appear as a pop-up once you click on the button. I've also added an image that I have retitled Mercator 2. You also see here I have my second button, same thing as well, creating an invisible frame, showing my message as well as a warning message, or set my JOption pane as a warning message, also with an image. So moving down, my button 3, my button 4. Now here you'll see that I have set boundaries for my Java window to this size specifically. And you'll see here what I showed you earlier, where I have specifically my buttons 1, 2, 3, and 4 to have an action listener, so it will monitor for those buttons to be clicked. Here I am adding my buttons onto my panel, and here I have my panel to have a northern border layout. So I have set my buttons to appear at the top instead of the south, which is the bottom, or east or west. Here is my main method, which is very short and simple. Here I am calling my buttons 2. Down here you'll see that it's supposed to print thanks quick start exits once the program is exited. Now this is just so I know that the program ends, and it will print out on my terminal. And you end off with cbutton.setVisible, which is my C button here, my cartographer buttons. Now I would like to switch over to my demo. So I've switched over to my windows to show you my code again, and here I am just showing you that I have imported the stuff that is necessary. Just showing you my code again, scrolling down to show you it's the same thing, just on a different PC. And then I will jump over to my terminal to show you how to compile and run. So now that I've switched over into my terminal, I'll show you how to do this. So you will CD into your C drive and then type CLS to clear your terminal for a better view. Now I will CD into my ESRI, tab into my Mojo, and then tab into my examples folder. Now in my examples folder, I have my file, so I will MOJ compile buttons2, which is my file name, .java. Once that is successful, you'll get this message, press enter, move on to MLJ run. Now, MLJ run, you would type in buttons 2. Instead of .java, you would just leave a space in between the name and then a dot. Now you have your Java window popping up. Here's my demo. Okay, so this Java window I've centered it so we can see it better. You can notice that I have my 4 buttons that I've created up top in the northern part of my window as I have set it. I want to mention there's nothing in my JFrame because I have an empty constructor for that. You see that when I click on Mercator, an image of him pops up as well as his name and information that I have set to do. Click OK to close, and you can move on and see the next button, Albers. Again, a picture of the Albers projection as well as information on the cartographer and his other projections. Moving on to Lambert, again, image, name, extra information. Click on OK. Lastly, we have Cassini, again, image, further information. This time, instead of OK, you can click on X and it'll do the same thing. I want to mention that you can see the size of my Java window that I have preset. And you can see that if you close it, it should pop up onto the terminal. Thanks Quick Start Exits, as I have set it to do in my main method. Here are my references that I've used throughout the video. I do want to mention that a portion of my code that I showed you today was given to the class by my professor here at SDSU. If you have any questions, please email me here. I will be glad to answer them, and I want to say thank you for watching.